Do 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 do.
Hey, how's it going? It's Nancy Gamon. Thanks for visiting. When I ice dye fabric, I often place pieces of paper underneath the project first. When the dye melts through the fabric, it creates colorful and interesting patterns on the paper at the same time. While I love looking at the pretty dyed papers, I'm often not quite sure what to do with them, so I was especially pleased when I came up with an idea to turn some of the paper into small colorful fish. I started by drawing a little fish on plain paper and traced around it to create a stiff template out of a paper file folder. The dyed paper is different on each side. Since I'm going to draw on the paper with a white gel pen, I'm looking for an area that's fairly dark and has some interesting things going on visually. So once I have my template in place, I'm just going to trace around it with a white gel pen to form the outline of the fish. Using my paper drawing as a reference, I'm going to add in some identifying details. The curve of the upper back, where the body of the fish meets the tail, a line to show kind of the roundness of the belly, lines where the fins meet the body, and I'll also draw in the gill and an eye and a little line for the mouth. So that creates the basic sense of a fish, and now I'm going to add in some details on the fins, just drawing in thin white lines to fill the spaces. With the tail, it helps to start with several lines radiating out from the center first. I'm keeping the base of the lines really close together and then gently fanning them out as they go towards the edge of the tail. And then once I have those middle lines in place, I'll work in from the sides. Now it's time to start working on the body of the fish, just responding to the shapes here. I'm looking for the places where the values change or where the colors change, and I'm outlining those areas with the white gel pen. This is the part I just love. I feel like it is so soothing and meditative just to spend time with the colors and shapes and trace them with the gel pen. It's super relaxing to me. And there isn't really a right or wrong way to do it. Each of us could work with the same piece of paper and come up with different results. And that's a really lovely thing about this process. So just trust your eye. The fish that you make with the designs that you see will be uniquely yours, and it will look different from anyone else's. Usually once I have some lines in, then it's easier for me to see where the other lines should go. So don't worry about where to start, just start somewhere. Pick the spot where it's really easy to tell the difference between two colors, and just let the process evolve as you go along. It's really not possible to make a mistake with this. If I feel like my line is a little off and I haven't put it in exactly the right place to define a value, I just go ahead and add in another line that feels more like where I think it actually should be. And then when I feel like I'm getting close to being done, I take a look at the areas that I've outlined and kind of check to see if they really seem like just one color inside. If it feels like any space has more than one thing going on in it, then I look for where I can add in a line to help define where the color changes. So I think this little fishy is pretty well defined, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it out using a pair of paper scissors. So there's my little fish, and now I'm going to glue him onto a piece of cardstock. I'm just using an ordinary glue stick and applying a nice even layer of glue to the back of the fish. Do be sure to get clear out to the edges all around the shape and use plenty of glue. I'm going to center the fish onto the card in a way that seems pleasing to me. And then I'm going to cover it with a clean piece of paper and really press down and rub all around so that the glue gets nice and adhered. I also like to weigh the piece overnight with a heavy book just to make sure that the glue has a chance to really stick firmly. So using a variety of colorful papers, you can create a whole school of unique and artistic little fish, each one with its own coloring and personality. If you don't happen to have a nice pile of hand-dyed papers lying around, consider using an acrylic paint marker on maybe a failed abstract painting, or a set of fabric markers on a piece of hand-dyed fabric, or another piece of fabric that has an abstract pattern that you can respond to. Check the video description for links to resources and a complete supply list. I hope you have a boatload of fun with your creative adventures. I'll see you next time.